Hey guys, please let me know if you can hear me and see my screen, please. Okay, great. I'm asking because I actually can't see the preview, so I was worried if you guys can see it. Okay, great. So let me just switch to my camera view and you can tell me if you see me as well. Okay, so do you see me? Okay, great. So we can start. Welcome to Dreamframer Photography. This is another free webinar. Today we're gonna not just do one photo, we're gonna go through some photos before that because I get emails from you guys, and I got this email from Kai. She's from Thailand, and she sent me some images of the moon, and she was asking how to get rid of the noise from those images. So we're gonna talk about that first because I received actually quite a few emails regarding noise, and people are confused about it, so I think it's important to go through that and just clear things up. After that, we're going to try to do one photo. It's not going to be complicated, and that's going to be it for today, I guess. If you see me and hear me well, that's great. If you don't see the video in like good resolution, just click that gear button on the right bottom corner of the video and set your resolution to 1080p, so full HD. And also there is a live chat. Some of you are already using it. For those who are new, you can ask me questions in the live chat. I will answer them. I will take a look at the chat every now and then and answer your questions, although you have to know that it takes about 15 seconds for my video and sound to reach to you. So there is this like buffering time because YouTube needs to process the video before it serves it to you. So don't expect me to answer right away, but I will. Also, there is a little $sign in the chat down there. You can use that if you want to tip me. Last time I got my first tip of $2. Thank you so much. And also I want to thank the person who translated one of my videos to Slovak language. I will post the link in the description of this video that you can use to help me translate my videos, or maybe just put subtitles in English if you have time to do that. You don't have to do the whole video, just maybe a sentence or two sentences, and then YouTube will put that together and make total subtitles for the whole video. I was doing that in the beginning, but now I really don't have time to do it. It's very time consuming. It takes me about 2 hours for one video. And I also have a regular job, and I have my life too, so if you can, please help me do that. I also wanted to ask you, if this is the first time you are seeing me, subscribe to my channel, especially if you want to sell photos online, because I'm basically my videos are all about that, and you will not find more detailed guide on YouTube about stock photography and how to sell your photos online and earn money. Also, ask me questions, post comments on my videos, send me an email. Those people who do that, they know that I answer basically in a couple of hours, in a few hours, sometimes in the next day, but I always do answer. And now let's switch to Photoshop view and let me show you something about those images of the moon. Okay. Let me just take a look at the chat. Hi everybody. No questions so far. Okay, that's good. So let me open a couple of those images that Kai sent me. So these were the images that she sent me first, and some others, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, these ones. So I feel like these images are basically just cropped versions of something that looked like this. So let's start with this image, for example. So she did a pretty good job, I have to say. This is a pretty good image. It's not overexposed or underexposed, so that's all fine. However, her lens can't zoom that much, and if the lens cannot zoom too much, don't try to crop the image too narrow. Don't try to do something like this and then crop the image, because that result will not be sharp enough and it's going to be rejected. So let me just deselect that, Control D to deselect. Another mistake that she made is she was taking pictures in JPEG. You can see here that it says JPEG, right? So whenever you are taking pictures, especially for stock, if you have that option in your camera, take raw images. For Nikon camera, she has Nikon camera, raw format has the extension NEF, N-E-F, so .NEF. If you do that, the image will have much more flexibility during editing. You will be able to correct the noise much better than on JPEG image. You will be able to recover blown out highlights much better. So let's just import this JPEG image into camera raw filter and see what we can do with it. Also, another advice: if you're taking images of the moon, there are tons of images of the moon on stock websites. Try to do something like this. Let's say this image is interesting because there is this airplane trail here. It would be even better if the airplane was, let's say, here or somewhere like in the frame, right? That would be even more interesting. Or if you can catch the plane just over the moon, that would be perfect. So let me zoom. I'm going to click Control plus and zoom to 100%. So here you see now 100%. And you can clearly see that there is some noise, there is some grain, right? Also, the sharpness, it is what it is. That's the lens, that's the atmosphere. You can't expect super sharp image of the moon unless the atmosphere is a specific temperature and stuff like that. But let's see what we can do with this. So first, I'm not gonna even touch exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows and all that. I'm gonna go right to this tab here and try to make the image a little bit sharper. So I'm gonna push the slider, the top slider, something like this. Now we can see that the moon is a little bit sharper. Let me go back so you can see the difference. Look at this area over here. When I leave the slider to the 0 point, it looks like this. If I push it to, let's say, 28%, we get some more sharpness. Also, we increase the noise, so we have to push this slider, luminance slider, to the right to delete some noise. And that's about it. We can't do much more about this image. Let me just push this a little bit back. Also, in the lens correction tab, if you are working on JPEG image, you will not have options like with raw image. The Photoshop will not know which camera you used, what lens you used, so you're only left with these options to correct lens distortion and purple purple fringing. So right now we don't have much purple fringing, but you can kind of push these sliders a little bit, just to maybe 1 or 2. And if you see, for example, green halo on this side, and it's not really green but it's more yellow, then you can adjust the spectrum for that green to match that color that you see here. So that way you can kind of correct that. Also, you can correct vignetting. We can see here that corners are a little bit darker. You can see that better if you zoom out a little bit better, right? So we can do that just by pushing this slider a little bit to the right. And that's about it. With images like this, you don't really want to increase contrast too much, because it's a JPEG image. It's gonna bring up too much noise. So let me try to do that. Like increase maybe contrast like this, or maybe even let's say I want to increase the saturation of blue and aqua, so the sky becomes bluer. But then if we zoom in, you can see that we have some color noise here, right? That's because we increased the saturation of blue. So now we have to also push this slider of for noise reduction for color to kind of try to decrease that noise, but as you can see, it doesn't work well. So this would all work much better and easier if this image was taken in RAW format. So let me show you another image. I'm going to show you the cropped image from the same camera. So now if I zoom to 100%, do you see that edge? That's also because this image is JPEG image. So when camera saves an image as a JPEG image, it compresses a lot of information. It compresses the colors, it compresses the sharpness, so you get this so-called JPEG artifacts, and those are visible mostly on the edge of two contrasty surfaces like this bright moon and darker sky. So this will be rejected right away. The inspectors are going to inspect your image at 100%, so this zoom, and you can clearly see that this image is not sharp enough. So pay attention to that. Don't crop images too much if you don't have that. I mean, it's the best is to use maximum zoom on your lens, so that's natural zoom, and then crop image a little if you have to, but don't do it too much. Now let's open another image from the same camera. So this is different exposure, different maybe different. I didn't check the camera data, but it's probably different exposure, and the moon is full. You can see that the moon is almost completely blown out. There are almost no details on it, right? But because this is raw image, it's in NEF format. See that down there, .NEF? Then you can actually correct this image much better than if it was JPEG image, because NEF format, raw format, contains much more information than JPEG, and it allows you to work to do more stuff on the image. As an example, I'm gonna go to lens lens corrections tab, and you see that now we have automatic remove chromatic aberration. So let me just zoom to show you how that works. How that works nice if you have raw image. So this is 100% zoom. You see this red glow here? If I click that, just a second to process. We have a little bit of it still, but that's okay. I'm gonna click enable profile corrections. We have a little bit of that red glow, but we can fix that with saturation tab. So I'm gonna show you that later. Still, this is pretty good. There is no much chromatic aberration actually on this image. And now I can go back to basic tab, and look what I'm gonna do. I will just decrease the highlights and see how we get all that landscape on the moon, right? So I'm gonna do something like this, whites as well, and then I'm gonna brighten up the shadows to get the blue sky, and maybe increase the exposure a little bit, not too much, but blacks I want to keep down because of this noise that we create here when we brighten up the shadows. So I'm gonna push blacks down there, and we don't even need those blacks because trees are only silhouettes, right? So let's see what we can do with this moon. Increase the exposure a little bit, and now I'm gonna go to hue, saturation, and luminance tab and make this moon not orange. Let's make it more gray. So I'm gonna grab the orange slider and pull it back to the left, and yellow as well. So you see the difference now? We had before very bright moon with almost no signs of any details on it, and now we clearly see the moon, and yeah, we have a lot of noise on the sky, but that's easy to correct with noise reduction. This would be very hard if this image was JPEG image. So let's now correct that noise. I'm gonna click on sharpening and noise reduction tab. I have to notice that the moon is not super sharp, but again, that's, you know, the lens and the atmosphere, so I will not play too much with sharpness, maybe just add a little bit of it. So this is 100% zoom, and now let's get rid of this noise over here. And maybe increase the radius for sharpness a little bit. We have some not really nice edge here, so I guess I'll have to push the amount of sharpening lower, and that's fine. We're gonna try to, you know, fix this image by resizing it to lower megapixel number. And that's it. Now we can open the image, we can work on it. So if you let me just show you what was the original image. So now remember this, how this looks like. I'm not gonna save it. Let's open. Have to delete this file because Photoshop records the settings that I applied. So this was the original image. The sky is very dark and the moon is basically without any details. So the point of all this is to tell you to always try to take raw images with your camera if the camera has that option. If it doesn't, then you're gonna still have, you're gonna still be able to use images, but with raw images, sometimes you have a really good image, but there are some blown out whites, or there's no details in the shadow, or there is too much noise, but the image, the composition is really good. And if it's a JPEG image, sometimes you will not be able to use it, while with NEF image you have much more possibility to edit the image and fix it. So let me see. Picture Fantasy says, "Sir, can I add an airplane in this image?" Yes, you can add an airplane, of course. It doesn't have to be the airplane that you really saw on the moon, but if you know how to do it, you can do it. You can always, like I added those birds in the previous video. I added birds to a sunset image. You can do the same with an airplane. Let's go back to Photoshop. Let me open one image that we're gonna edit. As you can see, this is NEF image as well. So this is I took this image in Palm Springs. That's Southern California. It's a very nice town. It's in the middle of the desert, and this is just one piece of the landscape. The image is already pretty good, but you can see that the colors are kind of dull, and it was afternoon, so the colors were actually warmer. So sometimes the camera doesn't do a great job with white balance or color balance. So let's fix that first. First, I want to grab this temperature slider and make the image look warmer. So I'm gonna push the slider to the right, and this is kind of how it was. Those nice warm afternoon colors, right? Now let me go to a lens correction tab and click these two. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to detail tab and check for the sharpness. Let's zoom to see where the focus is. Okay, pretty much everywhere, but the lens is not the best, so yeah, I would have to add some sharpness to it. So let's grab this amount slider and just push it to the right a little bit, not too much though. Okay, that's better. It already looks better, right? Let's check the sky for the noise, because that's where you usually find the noise. Although when the sky is really light, then you can't really see the noise, right? You can see some of it on this mountain in the shadow. However, when you have surfaces that are basically a texture and not just flat color, then the noise can be mistaken for just a texture. So sometimes it's fine to have some amount of noise on the surface that has some texture. So this is not bad at all. Let's zoom out and correct a little bit those colors and add some light to the shadows, and maybe try to darken the sky a little bit. While we're doing that, we might increase some noise. So every now and then go back and check for the noise, whatever editing you are doing here. So let me try to brighten up those shadows a little bit. Okay, something like this. And then I'm gonna push black tones, dark tones a little bit to the left, so we make some nice contrast over here on these palm trees and bushes. Let's add some vibrance. Okay, like this. And maybe just a little bit of saturation. Always be careful with this slider. Actually, I want these hills to look like this, kind of reddish orange. However, the palm trees are super green now, and they don't really look like this in real life. So to fix that, when you are playing with saturation slider and you make one color stand out too much, then just go back to this tab, go to saturation tab, grab that slider for green, for example, and push it back to the left. See? We fixed it. Now we have kind of, we have nice green here. We have some kind of yellowish plants over here, and we have orange mountain. Now we just need some sky. If we can do that, let's try to do that. This is not really blue, even though the sky should be blue, but it's afternoon, so this is gonna be pretty tricky to do with these two sliders. Basically no effect. That's okay. We have that free plugin that we used in the previous webinar. I'm gonna show you later if you didn't watch that one, so we can fix the sky with that. Anyway, when you have haze like this, you don't need to fix the haze all the time. Yeah, it's nice to see this mountain sharp and nice, but in the nature, you know, the mountains that are far are always hazy, more hazy than the mountains before, and that gives you the sense of depth. So don't try to fix that always, but if you want to, you can do it here. This effect tab is good for that. Click on that and push the slider to the right, and look what's happening. The haze is disappearing. You don't want to do something like this, right? That's too much, and it brings too much noise. So maybe a little bit like this. Then always watch other parts of the image, because now palm trees are too dark. So we have to go here to Hue, Saturation, Grayscale tab, click on Luminance, and grab the green slider, push it a little bit to the right, something like this maybe, and then go back to the Basic tab and push blacks to the right, something like this. I like this effect. Our sky is also kind of bluish here, but you can see that we have some dark corners here. That's because of the lens. The lens has a vignette. To fix that, we can go back to Lens tab and go to Vignetting slider and push it a little bit to the right. And that's fine. Now I want to check for noise again. So I'm gonna zoom to 100%. When you're checking for noise, always zoom to 100%, okay? So let's see how that looks like. There is some noise over here, I can tell. Also, you know, you can add a noise. You can add actually grain. Grain is a natural effect of analog photography. Noise is kind of similar thing in digital photography, but it has a different cause. So you can try to make images look retro by adding grain, but you always risk the image to be rejected, because some reviewer could mistaken the grain for noise. it should look like it's intentionally added. That's the key. If it looks like the grain is intentionally added, then it's fine. But it looks like it shouldn't be there, then the image will probably be rejected. So let's just go to noise reduction and just add a little bit of noise reduction to these surfaces. Not too much, because we're gonna lose the details. Maybe something like this. That's gonna be fine. Yeah, that looks good. Great. Let's zoom out one more time. Okay, just open the image in Photoshop. And let's see the chat. Can we put color over the sky, for example, orange color? Yes, of course you can do that. So the image is opened in the background filter, in the background layer, I'm sorry, not the filter. So let's grab that layer and pull it down to a new layer icon, create a new layer. Now we have background copy. And the first thing I want to do is I want to erase this wire, these two wires actually. So Control plus to zoom, press space to turn the cursor into a little hand so we can move the image. Zoom a little bit more, Control plus. And now I want to grab this tool. This tool I already used before, you know it, spot healing brush tool. So I'm going to click on it. Make sure that here it says content aware and not create texture or proximity match. So I just want to mention again, for those who didn't follow the webinars before, whatever tool you click here, you're gonna have the options for that tool on the top. See that? It always changes. So explore those options, see what you can do with those. So I grabbed spot healing brush tool, and I'm gonna increase the size of the brush a little bit. I'm doing that using left and right bracket on the keyboard. So right bracket is to increase the size, left bracket is to decrease the size of the brush. For whatever tool you use, it's the same thing. And now let me turn on my tablet, and I'm gonna use my pen. You can do this with the mouse. It's just gonna be a little bit slower, but it shouldn't be a problem. And now I'm gonna go over these parts of the wire that are visible. You don't have to go through the whole wire. So let's do that. Erase the wire. See, because I'm using content aware option, Photoshop tries to add the, like, logically add the, replace the wire with the background. It adds like a piece of this branch over here, and we have a little bit of wire here, some black wire. That's okay. This is not even, doesn't bother me like this one. And when you have a background like this, then you can just go over it and erase it. So if this was editorial image, I shouldn't be deleting this, because you're not allowed to delete any objects from, if you want to sell the image as editorial image. Since I want to sell this as a commercial image, I'm gonna delete this. And also, you know, when you're taking editorial images, you have to think about the value of the image. Why is the image interesting? Is it interesting for news? Is it interesting for like some science article or something? This image doesn't really have any of those values. I mean, it's just a landscape. And if I was taking, let's say, the image from the downtown, yeah, that could be editorial image. Seeing people walking on the street, tourists. But image like this, no. Also, if I want to sell this image as editorial image, I have to pay attention on those buildings down there, if they have any logos or anything like that, because you can't have logos in commercial image. Okay, we erased the wire, right? So let's zoom one more time and check for logos on these images here. This is 200%, this is too much, but sometimes it's good to do that when you are searching for logos, because they can be tiny. Like this is completely fine. You can't even read what it says there, and if it doesn't even look like any recognizable logo. If you could like see Nike sign here, then you would remove it, but since it's just some letters, then it's fine. This is a traffic sign, so that's fine too. Let me zoom a little bit out. I don't see any other logos there, any other brand names, nothing. So I think we're fine. Zoom out a little bit more. Okay. Now let's see. I want to crop this image a little bit because, yes, I want to keep a little bit of this desert landscape here, but not this much maybe. Let's try to do something with it. Okay. This looks pretty interesting. We have mountains on this line here, the edge of mountains, mountain tops, and we have the valley close to this line here. So let's just, I also want to keep a little bit of this landscape too. So maybe it would be better if I could do something like this and then add the sky. Let's try to do that. So I cropped the image. I actually extended the top of the image, if you noticed. Right now I want to extend the sky. How I'm gonna do that? So let me copy this layer just one more time, just in case. And then I'm gonna click my rectangle marquee tool and grab the top. Oh, sorry. So this happened because, as I mentioned before, every tool has its options. Right now the options for a rectangle marquee tool are set to fixed ratio, 16:9. You can change this. It can be 1 and 1, and then you will make square selections. But you can also click normal and don't have any boundaries and just make a free selection like this, right? And then I'm gonna click edit, transform, scale, and now I'm able to transform only this selection. So I'm gonna grab this top point and just pull it up just enough to cover the edge of the image. Click here, Control D to deselect, and we extended our sky. So I think the image looks nice now. It's a nice composition, rule of thirds, right? I have a video on photo composition, and I'm gonna link it in this video. We have 1/3 of the image that is sky, the middle portion is mountains, and the lower portion is the valley. And I think you will agree that the image looks nice as a thumbnail. Let's save this just in case. When you're happy with the result, always save the image, because you never know when the computer might freeze or something. So let's save this as a Photoshop format. Palm Springs PSD. Okay. Now let's play a little bit with filters. I'll go to the filters, to the group of filters that I showed you in the previous tutorial. So I'm going to filter, Nik Collection, and Color FX Pro. Waiting for filters to load. There are no new questions in the chat. The filter, the plugin will process the image and prepare it for editing. And this is right now bicolor filters groups is chosen, so we can go here and experiment with these filters. This one is, I mean, the sky looks nice, but the lower portion is really yellow. This one is also interesting. This one as well. What do you say? Which one should I use? I kind of feel that this group is nice. Maybe something like this, but to edit it a little bit. So let's see. Let's increase the opacity completely to see where the edge is and push the blend to the left. So this is where the edge between blue and orange is, this here. So let's just push it down a little bit to cover more of the sky. So something like this. And now we can increase the blending and lower the opacity. Also, what you can do, if this is too yellow, this is a good thing to do. We can click on one of the control points, click here, and oops, sorry, that's the wrong point. So this is to add the filter. So I'm gonna click here and erase that one. We want to decrease the effect, so I'm gonna click here, adjust the size of the circle, something like this, and wherever I put it, it's gonna affect those colors. I don't want to completely erase this orange, but maybe something like this. And then this button is to copy that point and its settings. So I'm gonna click on that one, grab a new point, come here, copy another one, go here, copy it again, put it here, and one more time, and that's it. If you're happy with the result, just click OK, and you will get a new layer with your image edited. And that's it. Let me just take a look at the chat. Fadzai says, hey Ivan, if there were clouds in the sky, would you still be able to transform and extend the sky like that? Yes, I did that many times actually. So you just have to be careful. You know, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want your clouds to look like stretched clouds, but you can always, if you need just a little bit of a sky, then you can do it for sure. I did it on a few images actually, and it looks completely fine. And Dylan Dog says, can I upload manipulation photos on Shutterstock? Yes, yes you can. Shutterstock loves images like that, so don't be afraid. The only requirement is when you do it so it looks great. If they see that, you know, it's obviously edited, obviously something introduced in the photo that was not there before, then it's probably going to be rejected because of the poor editing. But if you know how to do it properly, of course, do it. So let's go back to hi there. Let's go back to Photoshop screen. Now let me just check this sky, because I kind of don't really like this transition here. See that? I kind of don't like that, because when you zoom out you can clearly see that there's white here and blue over here. So let's try to fix that. Right now it's we have 20 minutes more, so I hope we're gonna finish everything and upload the photo. If we don't, then let's just try to finish editing of this photo, and we can do keywording in another tutorial. So how you can fix the sky, how you can add the color in the sky. One of the ways is, and it usually does a pretty good job, is to add an adjustment layer, gradient layer, right? So now Photoshop created a new layer on top, and it's a gradient layer, and it already added a mask. The mask is transparent now, so you can see the whole layer. Here you can see that the layer is created of white and transparent side. The left side of the gradient is the bottom of the image. The transparent side of the gradient is the top of the image. That's why you basically have covered the bottom of the image with white color. To change that, you can click here, and you have lots of gradients here, right? You can click all of them. What you want to do is to have blue color and transparent color, because you want to cover the sky with the blue color, and you want to leave other parts of the image transparent. So first of all, you have to change the direction of the gradient. Instead of 90 degrees, you have to grab it like this and put it to -90 degrees. So -90. Now you covered the sky with white. The rest of the image is kind of visible. We can fix all that, don't worry about it. Just click on the gradient again, and here where you have white color, this little white arrow here, click on it and change the color to blue. You want to match something that looks kind of sky, so don't put too bright blue. If you have another image with the sky in the afternoon, that would be the best to sample the color from there, but I don't want to lose time now with that, because I want to show you how this works. So right now, yes, we covered the sky, but we covered most of the mountain, right? So you don't want to do that. If you want to change the portion of the image that is covered with gradient, you can click here. See that? So we need something like this probably. And then, since the middle portion of the image is still white, then we can actually, what we can do is do this. Wait a second. Oops, I just added one. So if you add one, just grab it and pull it up. It's going to disappear. Okay? So something like this should be fine. Okay? I'm going to click OK to that. And now you can use this mask. Click on the mask. And if you don't like this effect here on the mountains, this here, like a haze, you can cover that with a mask. So click on the mask and zoom in, move the image, use brush tool and black color, and paint, so reminding you mask is active, not the layer, and paint over the image. First you can use a bigger brush and paint on the bottom of the image completely to uncover that. And then you can zoom, decrease the size of the brush, and carefully paint to basically uncover the mountains. If you mess up things, it's not a big deal. You can always grab a white color and fix the mask. I'm just gonna do it roughly like this so we can see how it looks like. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe I can change it to white by clicking on X or just clicking on this button, and decrease the size of this and paint back some of the color from the sky, from the gradient actually, like this. but generally I'm happy how it looks like now. Also, if you think that the gradient is too much, you can always decrease the opacity for that layer, and I'm gonna do that now. Let's zoom out, grab the opacity slider and decrease the opacity a little bit. Now I'm much happier with the sky. I'm gonna click save. Let's turn off this top layer to see how it looked before. See that? So let's take a look at the chat again. Black Arrow says, in one of your previous videos you said that the percentage of rejected images influences how easily the search engine can find us. Did I understand this information well? People always talk about that. No one really has the correct information because websites want to hide their system of ranking images anyway. But since a lot of people are talking about that, there might be some truth. So you know, it's not important if you have higher rejection rate in the beginning, because you're still learning. But when you eventually learn how to do this properly, you will have a very small number of rejected images, and then you will have much more images in your portfolio. So everybody has a high rejection rate in the beginning, but later on you should be able to improve that. If you keep having a lot of rejected images, that probably means that something is wrong with your technique, and that might have some influence on ranking your image ranking on websites. This is not confirmed information, but people were saying that on forums from their experience. So, you know, like every search engine, we don't know how Google actually works. We don't know how any of these search engine works on stock websites either. We just have to try our best guess. And Black Arrow says, if the answer is yes, please tell me, in your opinion, how much rejected images approved rejected ratio affect to my approved images selling slower or not selling at all. So yeah, I don't know the correct answer, but I know that on some websites I had rejection rate over 30%. At the same time, I had, for the same images, I had a rejection rate of maybe 10 or 15% on different websites. And I can tell you that, I'll be honest with you, I had high rejection rate on Fotolia. However, since last year I started selling much more on Fotolia, and last year I really improved my rejection rate. Actually, was it last year? No, 2015. Time flies. So in 2015 I started submitting to Fotolia again, and I improved my rejection rate a lot, and I can tell you that right now Fotolia is my second seller behind Shutterstock. So I guess it doesn't really matter much the rejection rate if you improve it in time. If you start improving it, it looks like you are recovering, you know, as your images recover the rank. Another question: do you do Photoshop webinars every week? I usually do. Next week I will not be able to do it. Later on we'll see, because I have some guests here for the whole summer. My son is coming, and hopefully I'll do it. But next week I'm sure I won't be able to do it. I'll probably make one short tutorial about XPix and WinRAR, because I'm getting many questions how to install XPix. So I'm gonna do a short video on that and help people. Another question: how many images you have on Shutterstock, and on average how much you make per month? So this is confidential information. In USA it's not polite to ask how much money somebody's earning. I have about 800 images I believe, and I can only tell you that I earn a couple of hundreds a month. I can't really tell you how much, because that's kind of private information here. I hope you understand. Black Arrow: you answer the second question without reading. You answer on second question without reading. Affect to my approved images. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I read both questions. Rejection is different on each stock site. Sometimes it is, because reviewers are people. They are not, I mean, it's not that the software is reviewing your images, it's people, and they work according to the rules of that website. The rules are pretty much the same everywhere, however they differ a little bit. So you might have some images rejected at one website and accepted on a different on the other website, depending on, you know, if this reviewer was tired and didn't see that detail that the other reviewers saw, then your image might be rejected, you know, on the second website and accepted on the first website. So it all depends. Also, it's not just one reviewer, it's probably tens of them, sometimes even more. Shutterstock, I'm sure, has probably a couple of hundreds of reviewers, so it really depends, you know, who's looking at your image now, if the person is really tired or not, if he saw 20 better images than yours, you know. It's like that human factor that's always involved. But of course they're professionals, they always strive to be completely equal to everybody. Some are accepted on one and rejected on others. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. It depends. If somebody doesn't notice your, you know, the mistake you did, they're gonna accept your image. But for me, the rejected photos, because I did not attach property released, and after that I was still in rejected even it was already approved. I do not understand well. Kai, I'm not sure if I understand the question. So you uploaded images without property release and they were rejected, and then they were still rejected even if it was already approved? If you can clarify that, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. In the meantime, let's just go back quickly to our photo and put some metadata, some information. Clark Coded says, "You are more helpful than I think you realize. You have helped me so much." Thank you. You're welcome, Clark. I'm doing my best. I'm glad I could help. So I'm gonna call this image just let's say Palm Springs. I don't know the names of those mountains behind, but I'm gonna look that up on Google, and I'm not gonna use this moment to do it because I don't want to spend time. Actually, you know what? Maybe you should learn that too. So let me just open a new tab. I'm gonna put it here on the screen so you can see that, and then say Google Map. Let's type Palm Springs, California. That's it. We don't need this. So I was somewhere here. I know that because I remember. So I was standing here, and this was the mountain. Let me try satellite. Santa Rosa and San Jacinto Mountains. Okay, so yeah, actually these are San Jacinto Mountains. Okay, let's use that information. Going back to Photoshop, Palm Springs and San Jacinto Mountains. I'm sorry I'm making so many typos. It's because my keyboard is on the left. It's really like in a weird position now because I have a lot of things in front of me. The description: view on the valley with, actually, is there a name for that valley? There probably is. If I can see it on Google Maps, that would be great. Actually, Palm Springs is here. That was Cathedral City. But those are still San Jacinto Mountains, I know that for sure. So maybe I'm just gonna say this: view on the valley with Palm Springs, with the city of Palm Springs, and San Jacinto mountains in the background. Period. We have more than 7 words. That's important for some websites. And the image is copyrighted, my copyright. Okay, save again. So we save the full size of the image as PSD, and now I want to resize it to 6.3 6.4 megapixels, which is the minimum size for some websites, because I just want to be sure that the image is going to be accepted. You know, that way you increase the sharpness a little bit, you decrease the noise a little bit, and trust me, people are buying mostly images for their websites, and they rarely need extra large. And even if they buy your extra large image, they usually use subscription, so you get the same amount of money as you would sell the small image. So that's why I just want to, you know, decrease the images to that minimum size. I get better approval rate, and I still sell those images. Let's try with 200,000. This will be, we can even decrease that to 201,000. Let's pull out the calculator. Times 3307. We can even decrease a little bit more, maybe 0.80. Let's do it again. 2080 times 3275. Oh, even less. I want to be as close as I can to that number, 6.3 times 3228. And that's okay. I'm not gonna bother you anymore with it. Okay. Let's check the image at 100% again. See how sharp and nice it looks. Okay, that's good. Save JPEG file, save as, Palm Springs, choose JPEG, and click save. It's almost 1 o'clock, we have a few minutes more. So I'm gonna turn on Xpix and turn off Adobe Photoshop. I'm not gonna save PSD file as decreased size, because I want to keep the file as big as I can. The question is, what is the best to upload images with, rights managed or exclusive, and why? I don't even do rights managed images, because if you sell one image as rights managed, you can't sell it as royalty free at all. Rights managed images are more expensive, but they're selling far less than royalty free images. So I'm not sure if you really meant rights managed or you meant royalty free. Anyway, about exclusive images, I don't sell images exclusively on any website, because in the past was happening that people who were signing exclusive contracts with some websites, they will regret it later, because websites, they come and go. So if the website disappears or gets bought by other company and they change the rules completely, you're stuck with that website. And if you want to escape from that situation, you have to build your portfolio from the beginning on other websites. So I always upload my images on multiple websites, just to be sure that, you know, doesn't matter if the website is small now, it could become bigger in the future, or if it's like super big now, like it was iStock or Fotolia, they get bought by other companies and you don't know what you can expect. Fotolia was lucky because Adobe bought them, and they're still selling well. iStock, on the other side, They are selling well still, but they were struggling for a few months to merge with Getty Images, and that kind of put off a lot of photographers. Hopefully they're going to recover, and they already are recovering. I can see new sales. I can see that the website is functioning well, but there was few months of basically shut down almost. So let's add our image to Xpix. Dreamframer. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, here. So this is our image. Start import to import title and description. And Xpix is warning me about this word, and that's a Spanish word, the name of the mountain, so that's okay, don't pay attention to that. I want to find the keywords, right? So I'm going to click suggest and click and type Palm Springs. Let's try with that only. Xpix is searching on Shutterstock. I can change that to search on other websites as well. I don't see many images similar to mine though, which might be good. But if I want to find popular keywords for my image, I'll probably have to add something. Let's say San Jacinto, or just mountains. That would be better. You can probably hear my laptop struggling. The fan is going crazy now. I would say maybe this image, even though it's not afternoon. Maybe this one, and let's say this one. Oh, this is my image though. Very old image. I took it with my camera, with my Nikon D80. And maybe this one. And let's check the keywords that we added. California, sky, nature, USA, travel, palm, desert, landscape, springs, blue, mountain, tree, trees, beauty, oasis, mountains, white. I don't have anything white, only those buildings, that's not important. Tourism, blue sky, green, America, environment. That's all fine. Oh guys, why didn't you? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You were still looking at me. I'm sorry about that. This is live, it happens. So what I did, I imported my image in Xpix, and if I can move this window. So the image imported my title and description. The word Jacinto was marked red, but that's the name of the mountain, so that's okay. Don't pay attention to that. So I clicked on keyword box. I clicked on suggest here, and this window was brought up. So I typed Palm Springs Mountains in the search box and click search. So I found these images that are kind of similar as mine image, these two. This is my old image that I was talking about, taken with Nikon D80. So I grabbed those images and I was reading these keywords here. Those are chosen keywords. And those are all fine. So let's now go to this other box and read those keywords and see what we can add. Canyon, that's okay. Jacinto, that's the name of the mountain. Valley as well. San Jacinto. Cloud, I don't have clouds. American, Palm Springs. Field, I don't know, not really. Palm tree, clear, the sky was clear. Okay, vacations, clean. Outdoors, hot. Destination, we have 33 so far. Where was I? United States, that's probably that. Let's click it. Ecology, outdoor, sunny, preserve, Southwest. I'm not gonna. Yeah, okay. Let's say Southwest. Yeah. Spring. We have Palm Springs. That's fine. I don't have snow or clouds. San Jacinto. We added San and Jacinto, so that's fine. We don't need this one. Summer. Well, it's kind of always summer here. Summer there, I mean. Hiking. States, United States. Scenic, 42 keywords. Sun, we don't have sun. We have only sunlight. Weather, white. Okay, so 42. Let's add those keywords. Unfortunately, I don't know about any other tool similar to Xpix for Linux. Maybe you can try searching Google. I'm sure you already did, but unfortunately no. This is the best app I found. I was doing this manually before. So we have afternoon. Let's say afternoon. Sunlight. Sunlight. Green. It's always, oh, we have green. Let's put orange because the color. And what else? Do we have landscape? Probably we do. Yeah. America. We do have to as well. Do we have California? Yeah, the first one. So that's 45 keywords. I think that's enough actually. Maybe a keyword, 1 or 2 keywords. I can't really think of anything, so I think that's fine. I'm gonna click save. Oh yeah, I have to select the image first. I always forget that. So click here, save, and click start export. And that's it. Now we can upload our image. Let's click on upload button. All my websites where I sell are selected. Just click upload. And let's wait for the image to be uploaded. In the meantime, let's see what the chat says. Let me go back to my camera view. You see me again. Yeah, there are some online free tools. Yeah, that's true. You can use that. I forgot about that. I don't know how good they are. They probably pull keyword. I think there was a tool, online tool, that was pulling out keywords from websites like Shutterstock. So maybe try to find that if maybe you already found it. If not, I'm gonna try to look it up for you. Yeah, keywording.sc. That's good for people who can't use Xpix. Very good. Thank you so much. Some websites have very high standards. Where can I begin? My advice is to begin with dreamstime.com, 123rf.com. I have all those linked down there in the video, in the description of the video. And then probably you can try canstock.com, like Canada, canstock.com, bigstockphoto.com as well. But you know, I'm sure if you pass those, you're gonna be good to go with Shutterstock or Adobe Stock or iStockphoto.com. Thank you, Ivan, for everything you do for us. You're a great man. Puno pozdrava iz Serbia. Thank you so much. Puno pozdrava za Serbiju too. And guys, that's it. Let's go back to our Photoshop, actually Xpix screen. Because I'm streaming the video, the upload goes kind of slowish, but eventually it's gonna get uploaded. And if you have a couple of more questions, please ask me. If you don't, you can always ask me after. Send me an email. If that was it, I'm telling you, I'm probably not gonna see you next Sunday, but I'm gonna try to make one tutorial, and I hope in 2 weeks we're gonna do the same thing. So tell your friends about me, spread the word, help me out, especially if you can translate some of my videos. I would be super grateful. Even if you speak only English, you can help me to put subtitles on my videos. And that's it. See you soon. Enjoy the day or the night. Bye.